host for this evening's webinar, Nigel Allen. I'm president of OneCoin. I'm going to give you an overview of the business. I'm calling to you live from Hong Kong. It's now 1 in the morning here in Hong Kong. So welcome to everybody in Europe. Very exciting times for us here in OneCoin. We're in the process of opening our Hong Kong office. We already had members going into the office today and yesterday, using it and signing up new business and having presentations. Very, very exciting times. I'm going to be going on with tonight's webinar in a second, and really just giving you an update from the Far East, how the business is exploding. As you can see, what I pointed out here earlier in the chat, just a few minutes ago, we're up to 14,770 members already in pre-launch. So it's a very, very exciting time, as I say. And we haven't even started mining the coin yet. So, I think we should start taking bets on how many members we'll have by January the 20th when we actually start mining the coin at our Hong Kong event. If at the moment we're at nearly 15,000, January the 20th, I expect to be somewhere in the 20 to 25,000 member range, which means that whichever way you look at it, 2015 is going to be the year for OneCoin, and this will be the opportunity on everybody's lips. This is certainly going to be the most talked about opportunity of the next 3 to 5 years. So what is OneCoin? Let's talk about that. I've been in this industry for 29 years, and since 1985, like many of you, I've been involved in various different products and services, and cryptocurrency was new for me, as a new concept about 4 months ago when I was asked to join them here at OneCoin. So I'm very excited to be asked to become president of the company. But there are certain questions I have in my mind that others also have when, when being presented with an opportunity. And if you don't have these questions, I suggest you have some similar questions, because, you need to make decisions like this based upon rationality and logic and not just based on emotion. So firstly, I'd say, well, what is OneCoin? What's it all about? I also want to know who's running it, who is behind it, what's their expertise, what's their experience in network marketing, what's the experience in whatever the product field is. Is it legal? I want to make sure that I don't get into trouble for legitimately building a business. Some people have in the past. It's quite possible. Is it real? What I mean by that is there a real world market for the product or service that we're selling? That's the hallmark of a Ponzi scheme and an illegal pyramid schemes, is that the only people you can market to are people who are already in the network. So if there's a market for the OneCoin in the outside world, that makes it a real product. How do I make money? What kind of business model is it? Well, in our case, as you'll see, we have two. One is going to give you income and cash flow whilst you're building your assets and your capital growth, which is the real wealth, which you don't get from most other network opportunities. Is it simple? I want to know I can do it. I want to know that my friends and family and my neighbors can do it. If it's not simple, it won't duplicate. And then lastly, I want to know about my strategies. What am I looking to get out of this in the next, say, 3 months? What about the next 1 to 2 years? And more importantly, what about my exits? Exit is a financial term. It basically means, how do I get my money out? Because you know what? If you can't spend it, it means nothing. So what is OneCoin? Well, OneCoin is a cryptocurrency, a new type of cryptocurrency based upon the success of Bitcoin. Many people have heard of Bitcoin. And a cryptocurrency is basically a computer-generated currency using mathematical algorithms. And it creates a finite or fixed number of coins or units according to a mathematical formula or puzzle. OneCoin is not pre-mined, though. We haven't gone out and created the coins with the intention of selling them to people. In fact, we're enrolling the help of people like you, our members, who will create the market for the business, who will mine the coins and therefore keep all the profits. You see, no one owns OneCoins. The OneCoins will be owned by whoever mines them, not the company. And it will be traded on a public exchange, which means, of course, as I was saying before, this makes it real because, of course, that means we can sell the product, sell the OneCoin to people who are not necessarily part of the network. We have a highly lucrative and very simple and fair compensation plan. So how does an algorithm work for a cryptocurrency? What does that mean? Well, an algorithm is just another fancy word really for a mathematical formula or a puzzle, okay? And in this case, this puzzle, once you solve it, there are actually 2.1 billion solutions to it, okay? So one of the hallmarks of a cryptocurrency with its algorithm is that there is a finite number or fixed number of solutions. So we can produce 2.1 billion coins. Bitcoin was able to produce, or is able to produce, 21 million coins. Incidentally, Bitcoin has only mined about half of their 21 million coins so far, and it gets harder and harder, and therefore the price goes up to mine the rest of them. And you can see in a second why Bitcoin in many ways is old news, and you really need to be getting involved with OneCoin in a big way. So how does the algorithm work? Well, here's a simple example just to put this in perspective. Suppose I wanted to create a brand new cryptocurrency and say, okay, I need to create exactly 3 coins. Remember what I was saying, it's a finite solution. So 3 coins here. I would come up with a puzzle or question or algorithm, for want of a better word, that says, how do I reach the answer 5? And you should see here there's 3 solutions. Well, 3 plus 2 equals 5, so that's one solution, therefore 1 coin. 4 plus 1 is another solution, therefore a coin. 5 plus 0 is the third and final solution to the question, how do I get 5? And of course, that is that creates 3 coins or 3 answers to the puzzle. So that's basically it. And in our case, of course, we're talking about 2.1 billion solutions to the puzzle or algorithm. This is and I'm going to be referring to Bitcoin a few times during the presentation, but here's a graph of the growth of Bitcoin over its first 6 years of existence. It started in January 2009, so it'll be 6 years old this January. And when they started mining the Bitcoin, the starting price was 10 cents, US cents. And as you can see, nothing much happened with it for the first 2.5 years. And really, I think the reason for this is most probably because the only people who even knew about it were kind of computer nerds. So they would probably mine it for a bit of fun. In May 11, it rose $35. Now, that's a 350-fold increase over its starting price. So in 2.5 years, I've never seen an investor like it, to be honest with you. But it didn't stop there. It rose until last year to $1,200 each. Now, what you see here is a huge spike. This suggests to me that around May 13, a lot of speculators suddenly jumped on the bandwagon thinking that they could make money with it, who had never heard of Bitcoin before, and some did. And they sold, and of course, anything that rises that far drop also very fast. So Bitcoin at the moment is somewhere in the $400 to $500 mark. However, that's probably its real value at the moment. As I say, there's 50% of the 21 million coins have already been mined. So now it's getting more expensive and harder to mine the rest of them. And as you'll see in a second, with cryptocurrency, mining the coin, and mining, by the way, is just a terminology for solving the puzzle. So mining the coin is easy in the beginning. You find a lot of them. As you find more and more answers or solutions, it gets successively harder to find the rest. Therefore, the price goes up because the mining difficulty and therefore the cost of mining increases. This story is interesting. A man bought $27 worth of Bitcoin and forgot he bought them because they're stored as a digital, probably just in a digital file on his hard drive, maybe on his desktop. Forgot he had them, and $27 worth. He traded those in and found he could buy himself an apartment for nearly $900,000 in Norway, in Oslo. This is what I was explaining here about the price and difficulty of finding a cryptocurrency or mining a cryptocurrency. In the beginning, the price is low, the difficulty is low. You find a lot of coins very easily. As you find more coins or solutions, it gets harder to find the remaining ones, and you need more and more servers, more and more horsepower, so to speak, more electricity. It gets more expensive, and the price goes up. The other factor that we've got here that no other company has is we have a network of people like you driving the business. So the more people who start mining, the more the price will go up. Okay. And as I said, currently we're looking at over 14,770 people, and when we're still in pre-launch. Now, do you think that we're going to be stopping at 15,000 people? I doubt it. What if we go to 150,000 or 1.5 million people in the next 3 to 5 years? Do you think that's going to put pressure for the price of the coin to go up in value? I think so. So really, everyone here at the moment who's looking at this right now is destined to make a fortune if they stick with the program. This shows you 6 years ago what mining Bitcoin were like. I mean, you could actually mine one coin in 1 hour with one laptop. Now, to get one coin is taking really about a month, and you need huge server rooms like this and huge investment in hardware and so on. It's taking the average investor 450 days to become profitable. So as you can see, I think now, in my opinion, the glory days of Bitcoin making the big money, I think it's already too late for that. Anyone jump coin bandwagon today, in my opinion, is probably a little bit too late. The horse has bolted. However, it's not too late to join OneCoin, which is not a copy of Bitcoin. That's tempting to think it might be. Well, you're going to see in a second how OneCoin is actually vastly superior to Bitcoin in many ways, both in concept and execution. The first recorded offline Bitcoin transaction was when in 2010 a man bought himself a pizza. Now, if you can remember, the Bitcoins were less than around 10 cents at that time. So it's still expensive pizza, but maybe the pizza shop didn't realize how much they were worth. He said, well, give me 10,000, who knows? However, that pizza would now be worth somewhere in the region of $5 to $7 million. So there's a moral here. The moral is do not sell your OneCoins too soon. Wait for the market to rise. So why is OneCoin better than Bitcoin? As I say, we're not a Bitcoin clone or copy. We've actually done it better. You know, there's an advantage in coming second sometimes, seeing what is done and saying, okay, how can I improve it? And that's exactly what we did here. So firstly, we have a more advanced and more secure algorithm. Now, the algorithm, again, we're talking science, we're talking technology, and technology changes and moves so fast these days. I mean, just imagine the technology 6 years ago, excuse me, versus technology today. So the algorithm obviously is going to be an improvement on the one 6 years ago. I mean, just look at how an iPhone 6 is an improvement over a, say, 6-year-old Motorola or Nokia phone. Things change. We have a smaller denomination. We can produce 2.1 billion coins versus Bitcoin's 21 million, which means it will be less volatile. And also, when Bitcoin reached 1,200 US per coin, it really put it out of reach of the average person. They didn't believe that they could use it, and it wasn't practical as a currency. Bitcoin also uses many different exchanges to sell its on to the outside world. Now, we only use one exchange called the One Exchange. So that again will add to more stability and less volatility. We have our own management team dedicated to the strategy and building the brand name and the merchants and so on for OneCoin. Bitcoin has nothing like this because, of course, it's totally open source and left to its own devices. And so there's really no one managing the shops, so to speak. With OneCoin, you'll join mining pools. As members, you join mining pools, so you don't have to invest in expensive hardware. And of course, there's no disadvantage. You know, if your neighbor has a faster computer than you, it won't help him. You can still, everyone has this, it's an equal opportunity here. Also, OneCoin uses KYC, or Know Your Customer rules, which means it's unable to be used for money laundering and criminal activities. Bitcoin, being anonymous, was also used by drug dealers and gun dealers on the internet. That cannot happen with OneCoin because of the Know Your Customer rules, which of course will make it much more attractive as a usable currency by different merchants and much more attractive as an investment by various institutions because, of course, we are compliant with all major banking regulations. Who's behind OneCoin? Well, Dr. Ruja Ignatova is our founder and CEO. In fact, she has 2 degrees, two master's degrees, one in law from Oxford and a master's in economics from Constance in Germany, and a PhD from Oxford and Constance in European business law. So a highly educated woman. She's only 36 now, and so she's achieved a lot in her very relatively young life. She was one of the youngest partners in McKinsey and Company, one of the large management consultants in the world, specializing in corporate banking, private equity, and so on. So she's a very highly educated woman, and really, it's very comforting to know that someone like this is at the helm of a company like OneCoin with cryptocurrency, someone who has extensive and deep experience in banking and finance and law. You can see also she's worked with major banks, whilst at McKinsey, like Sparebank, UniCredit, and so on. But she's also notably been awarded Businesswoman of the Year, not once, but twice in Bulgaria. In fact, the second award came just about 2 weeks ago in Bulgaria as the overall winner for the OneCoin concept. So again, you have to ask yourself, have you ever been involved in a network marketing company where the owner of the company was awarded Business Person of the Year in their life? And the answer is probably not. So this tells you a lot about the credibility of the management of OneCoin and who's actually running it. She's also published books in German and Chinese, and as you can see, she also these are all her certificates and achievements, just in case anyone doubts what we're telling you. Those are her books, by the way. And in fact, the Chinese one has just been reprinted. We have it for sale in our Hong Kong office for 88 Hong Kong dollars, which is about €9. Now, by the way, why is it 88? Eights are very lucky numbers for the Chinese, so that'll help you. I'm in Hong Kong at the moment for opening the office, so it's very exciting for me at the moment to be here. This is me, president of the company, of the network. My background is network marketing. I don't have any expertise in banking or law like Dr. Ruja has. My background is really in marketing and team building and doing what I'm doing now, talking to you and helping you advance your knowledge and experience, information about the business. I've been involved since 1985, so that's 29 years. I've built large organizations with companies like Larome, Herbalife, Lifestyles, and so on. Involved in nutritional supplements, cosmetics, and many different things. Just like many of you. As I say, the idea of a cryptocurrency was a totally new concept to me just a few short months ago, but I'm very, very pleased that I was invited to be part of the team. And really, my job here is to do exactly what I'm doing now, is to interface with people in the field. I'm meeting leaders here in Hong Kong. I'll be meeting leaders when I go back to Thailand, and traveling around and really doing what I do best, and leaving Dr. Ruja to do what she does best, which is managing the finances and the operations of the company. The company itself is a Gibraltar company. Okay, Gibraltar is part of Europe and the southern tip of Spain. It's a tax-efficient state. However, a lot of our IT and operations are handled in Sofia in Bulgaria, which is where Dr. Ruja is from. We have a team of 35 people currently in Sofia. We actually have two different IT teams, one for the software for the network and another one just for the cryptocurrency, who are their real expertise, of course, is heavy-duty science and mathematics. Now, you could be forgiven for thinking that we are a coin company or currency company. That's not true. We actually don't sell coins. We market sales and educational products, online training, basically, created by Dr. Ruja. And that's what we pay our commissions and bonuses on. And the coins, so to speak, are really a nice benefit of that. They're free. This letter you see to the right here, I'll bring up the larger version. You can print this off from your back office. It's from our German law firm. Basically, it's a legal opinion letter stating that, in their opinion, the OneCoin is a legal and legitimate product. In other words, they're saying they've checked into the algorithm and the source code and verified to their own satisfaction that it's exactly what Dr. Ruja says it is. Here's some of our team, IT team, having a briefing. and Sveta and Svetlana there in the head office. And cryptocurrency, again, if you need any further information about it, you can look at the Wall Street Journal. It's being traded on Wall Street. The Winklevoss twins, these gentlemen here, are major investors in Bitcoin. They were originally major investors in Facebook. So I think it's fair to say that cryptocurrency is now the darling of Wall Street. It's certainly a legal and legitimate trading opportunity there. This is blockchain, and this page here is from blockchain.info for Bitcoin. And this actually shows you blow by blow, minute by minute, second by second, every single transaction that happens in the Bitcoin universe. Every single coin that's mined, every single coin that's bought and sold, and everything. You can find it on this site. And these green boxes here it's like a constant data stream. So this is the kind of thing you'll also be getting in your back office once we start mining the OneCoin, and you'll see every single transaction in real time. Okay, again, this is another way you can satisfy yourself that the OneCoin is a real product, because frankly, it's just too hard to fake this kind of stuff once you see this in action. So again, there's many things that are pointing to giving you the belief that OneCoin is a totally real and legitimate product, if anyone ever questions that belief when you talk about it. So our education packages, our core activities, 5 levels of education on how to trade and profit from cryptocurrency with interactive quizzes and videos and so on, all designed by Dr. Ruja, as I say, a lady with 2 master's degrees and a PhD, so really who better to learn from. So there's 5 different levels in education, from 100 to 5,000 euros in price and value, and every package also gets free tokens. Now these free tokens are not, I like to think of the tokens as mining permits, because these tokens, you can sell them to other members if you want to make some quick money, or you can use them for their real purpose, which is actually to mine the OneCoin. So using the tokens, you can buy slots, or you can buy yourself into mining teams effectively. What can I do with these tokens? Well, of course, as I just said, you can sell them exchange and make some quick money if you've got a short-term strategy, or you can keep them and split your portfolio, because all of the portfolios will split at least one time, with the Tycoon, our top package at 5,000 euros, splitting twice. The top package, for example, the Tycoon, and I talk about that a lot in my presentations, because really it's the best return on investment. That costs 5,000 euros with 5,000 euros of education, but you also get 60,000 tokens. So if that splits 2 times, those 60 will become 120 and then 240,000 tokens. That gives you a lot of OneCoins to mine. And you need to start looking at the maths of this, because it makes a lot. So if you keep the tokens and join the mining pools, let me give you an example of what can happen. And I want you to listen carefully here. You buy a Tycoon package, costs you 5,000 euros. Now you may say, well, I can't afford a Tycoon package. Well, my answer to you is, buy it as soon as you can. Start with whatever package you can, whether it's 100 euros, 500, or 1,000. Start wherever you can and upgrade as soon as you can, because all packages will split anyway. So you have a Tycoon package for 5,000 euros. It's got 60,000 tokens. Now, if you sold all tokens on the trading exchange at the starting price of just 10 cents, 10 euro cents, you'd get 6,000 euros back for a 5,000 euro package. So you're really not out of pocket. There's no risk. Actually, as it happens, the token value has risen to about 16.5 cents, which means that you would probably get somewhere in the region of 9,700 euros back on your 5,000 euro purchase. However, in my opinion, selling the tokens and making quick cash is quite short-sighted. In my opinion, the people who are going to make the big money are the ones who use their tokens best in mining the OneCoin. So if you allow your package to split twice, in the case of a Tycoon, you would end up with 240,000 tokens by, say, March, okay? About 4 months away. Because we're about to go through the first split at all, by the way. So anyone who's buying a package today is really at an advantage, because you don't have to wait too long before the first split. So that's about to happen. So let's suppose come March, you've got 240,000 tokens. It'll take 5 tokens to mine one OneCoin. Okay, so if you divide 240 by 5, you'll get 48,000. That's exactly how many coins you will get for each for your 240,000 tokens. Okay, now those 50 cents, euro cents. Do the maths. 48,000 coins times half a euro is 24,000 euros value that you will start with, say in March. Okay. Now, where did you start? You started with a 5,000 euro package. So in less than 6 months, 4, 5, 6 months, you've ended up turning a 5,000 euro education package into a 24,000 euro value in OneCoin. Now, do you think it'll stay at 50 cents? Hell no. I don't believe so at all. They're not, the way we're growing as a network, more and more people are going to be mining it. It's going to be pushing that price up. What if it goes to a euro, a single euro, it doubles in value? Then your 24,000 becomes 48,000. What if it starts rising like this, as we predict, over the course of the first year up to, say, on the low side, 2 euros 50 or even 5 euros, according to the growth in the company. So that's half a euro to 5 euros. That's a tenfold increase. So if you had 24,000 euros here times 10, it means that in the first year you could actually, from one package alone, get a return of 240,000 euros. Let's talk what happens over 3 years. Over 3 years, you could be looking on the low side if it goes to 50 euros. And that's a 100-fold increase. So you could be making 2.4 million euros in returns in capital growth from your OneCoins based upon the purchase of a single tycoon package. Very exciting, very, very exciting. Here's a table showing some different strategies. So if you're short term in your thinking, you just sell your tokens on the market price after 4 to 5 months, and you'll still make 30 to 40,000 euros. If you've got a longer term strategy, well, you're thinking maybe 1 year to 2 years. You don't sell your tokens. You maximize by using them to mine the OneCoin in the pools. And you're looking at somewhere between 240 and 400 and maybe 500,000 euros return. So these are the kinds of returns you can be looking at. Numbers make sense, guys. That's why this business is exploding. Nearly 15,000 people can't be wrong, and we haven't even started yet. How do we create value for our members? Well, we have 3 areas. One is speculation, which is people getting in. They want to be able to buy and sell. It's exciting. They love that. It pushes the value up. Value store is where people are looking for a long-term investment. They're looking for it just to grow steadily over time. So there's the difference. You can imagine stock market speculators, the day traders to go in and buy and sell, and then you've got the other types of people who box and shares and just sit and hold them. So it's the same kind of analogy there. Utility is the most exciting part for me in many ways, because as you see, number one, it doesn't start right at the beginning. Utility will start maybe sometime next year, which is where we find ways and show you ways and give you ways that you can utilize the coin. In other words, you can spend it. And being able to spend it, being able to trade it, being able to use it for different goods and services actually validates the value store and the speculation. So the utility, to me, is the most important part of this value equation. So lastly, OneCoin is a real cryptocurrency. It's secure, it's innovative. It will be 100% mined by members, so the profit stays with members. You'll join a pool of miners, so you don't have to invest in a huge hardware. And the real-time mining, or the blockchain, will be streamed live into your back office to prove to you that it's real, and that gives you every blow-by-blow transaction. And here's the important thing, though. In the beginning, early joiners profit from a low mining price and low difficulty, and this will increase over time. As the difficulty increases, the price will increase, because the resources required will increase. So everyone on this call is at a huge advantage over the rest of the population, because you're in right at the beginning. You're going to be in your OneCoins as cheap as they come, and you're going to be able to get your hands on as many as you can afford, and those will go up hugely in value over the next 2 to 3 years. And again, in my opinion, don't sell too soon. Don't be like the guy who traded his bitcoins for pizza. Hang on to them. Of course, many people will want to sell. They want to prove it's real. They want to be able to get some cash out and test the system. And you want to do that, you're welcome to do that. My opinion is don't sell your OneCoins to fund your lifestyle. Fund your lifestyle by building your network and getting your cash flow. Your OneCoins are for your nest egg. That's your capital growth. So the longer you hold on to them, at least for the first 3 years from according to these graphs, you're going to make an absolute fortune. So how do we make money in the plan? Very, very simple. 5 different levels from starter to tycoon trader. As I say, each one gets a successively higher degree of education on the trading academy. And of course, you go from 100 euros to 5,000 euros. One thing to point out here, if you're a networker, is the BV or bonus value is identical to the euro. So there's no disadvantage. If we sell a package for 5,000 euros, we pay commission on 5,000 as well. Not like companies that pay commission on, say, 3,000. So as you see here, trader gets 5 levels of education. It costs you 5,000 euros. You get 60,000 tokens. You also get 2,500 Aurum gold coins, which is another bonus really just for joining. But I'm going to focus on the tokens right now. The equation I gave, just the example I just gave you a few minutes ago, says you start with a 5,000 euro package and wait for it to split twice, end up with 240,000 tokens, which can give you 48,000 coins at the starting value of 50 cents. That's 24,000 euros. A year later, who knows where that could be? It could be 10 times that. So very exciting. But let's look at how we actually pay bonuses in the plan now. So this euro 5,000, the cost of the training is what we actually pay bonuses on. So let's suppose you sponsor me and I buy a tycoon package for 5,000 euros. You make a 10% bonus, which is 10% of 5,000, which is 500 euros immediately. You also make network bonus on any product sold in your weaker leg. It's a weak leg binary with no weekly or monthly qualification requirements. So all sales in your weaker leg, you get 10% off. Okay. So again, someone sells a tycoon package in your weaker leg, you're making 500 on a single sale. Matching bonus, which is according to your package. So if you've got a tycoon package, you get paid 4 levels or 4 generations of matching bonus. The only qualification there ever is 2 sales of trader, which is 500 euros or higher, and that's 1 left and 1 right. And then you're permanently qualified for matching bonus. I've done a little illustration here showing you what matching bonus could mean to you, just showing you how the maths works. And here's a very simple organization. And by the way, I'm not going to talk about the trader, pro, and executive traders here, just tycoons, because that's where the real money is, because that 4th level. So here you go, you build a very small organization, you find 2, help them get 2, help them get 2, and so on through 4 levels. You could be looking at 620 euros per week in matching bonus. Now, the only assumptions I've made here is that everyone's making just 100 euros per week. And I've already explained to you and shown you how you could be making over 500 euros a week just on a sale of a tycoon package in your week. These are entirely credible numbers. 620 euros a week just in matching bonus there. But what if you build a slightly bigger organization? You see, this is below average. Let's suppose you go average and you find 3 who get 3 who get 3 through 4 levels. Look how that affects your matching bonus. You could go up to nearly 3,000 euros per week in matching bonus for doing what? 50% more work. That's really all you're doing. You're finding 3, helping them get 3, and so on. Now, what about leaders? What do leaders do? Leaders, this is an average organization, 3 by 3. Leaders will go and build it bigger than this. How about 5 by 5? You go and find 5 good people, help them get 5. Look how that translates into your matching bonus, over 18,000 euros per week, and excluding any other area of income. And of course, as you see here, all the others there, matching bonus increases too, but really it's that 4th level where it really kicks in and makes you some serious money. Startup bonus, again, you get a further 10% on all direct sales that you make in your first 30 days, providing you sell 5,500 euros worth. So again, you've got the potential of making as much as 20% on every sale. Our recognition and rewards program, we launched that in the beginning of November, and we're going to be giving our first awards away at our event in January in Hong Kong at our mining extravaganza. And as you can see here, as you hit certain levels, the pin levels, according to achievements, you're going to get additional recognition and additional rewards, such as things like iPhone 6, MacBook Air, Diamond Trip, Rolex, gold Rolexes. And the top position here is €500,000 in Aurum gold coins. So again, and we already have, by the way, 2 or 3 people who are at the blue diamond or black diamond level, and we're still in pre-launch. So imagine what can happen here. One Life points, I'm not going to go into that tonight. This is basically like a loyalty scheme. You don't have to do anything for it. Everyone who joins the company after you adds to your points. And you can see the points adding up on your daily basis in your back office, and you can trade those points in for things like watches and holidays. The Aurum Gold coins, I mentioned this very briefly earlier. This is a thank you gift from the company. It's nothing to do with the OneCoin. It's an additional product, an additional free gift from the company just for joining and buying a package. So every Aurum Gold coin is backed with 1 milligram of solid gold. So as you see from the next slide, a tycoon trader gets 2,500 milligrams or 2.5 grams of solid gold in his name in the vault in Dubai with Aurum Gold coin. And by the way, if you want to sell them to other members, you're welcome to. This is like a, how should I say, a welcome from the company, thanking you for buying the package. Lastly, how do you get your money out? Well, we have our one card. From a trader package upwards, everyone gets a one card, which is a MasterCard debit card. You can spend your earnings, withdraw it onto your debit card, pull it out of the ATM, and so on. You can also have your earnings sent to your bank account wherever you are in the world. And thirdly, you can also use your online cash account to create and generate gift certificates, sell those, and of course that's another way of getting cash in the door as well. So I've gone through a lot of information this evening. I hope you've got it. I'm very excited, as you can tell, and I think you need to really focus now on doing whatever you can to get to this mining event in January in Hong Kong. The details are in the newsletter, but basically you can come there, of course, on your own dime. But if you achieve certain targets, the company will also pay for your flights and accommodation. And of course, who wouldn't want to come to Hong Kong for 3 or 4 days and have all that paid for? And you can do that and be part of the OneCoin launch of the mining. We can mine 60,000 coins an hour using our algorithm. And guess what we're going to do with the first 60,000 coins? We're going to be giving them away to people in the audience, people who turn up and come to the mining event. And there are only 250 seats. So seats are limited. Make sure that you get there. And one of the ways you get there is by promoting all the events that we do. And these events include things like this webinar. You need to get your prospects and your members listening to these webinars. I do them several times a week live, whether I'm in Hong Kong or Bangkok or wherever I am. So, tune in and use them to build your business. And with that, I'm going to say thank you so much. And I'll see you on the next webinar on Thursday night. Prior to on Friday, I'll be flying off to do a meeting for over 300 people in this part of the world. So, this is just going to absolutely explode, and you need to be part of it. Do not miss the boat. Thank you and good night.